Even before COVID-19, which feels like ancient history already, even before that had people rushing for the doors, New Boston Creative Group, our agency, had several remote employees. Full disclosure, I was one of them. So when COVID hit and people were freaking out, they looked to me and the other remote employees for reassurance that we could all function that way. Like, people in the headquarters were not used to that. And I noticed personally that people were much more willing to have video meetings with me once they realized, oh yeah, it's really important to have that face-to-face time. Now that many companies have gone back to in-person or hybrid arrangements, or are second-guessing the cost of renting office space, engaging your team, remote or in-person, is critical to success. So let's discuss. But first, today's coffee break is brought to you by grain-flavored ice cream. Enjoy the taste of corn and wheat in a delectably cold and creamy treat. Welcome to an almost productive coffee break, the same bold flavor of our original podcast brew in a single shot. Perfect for those times when you need a quick marketing pick-me-up.
I'm Sean.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Addie.
And we are all marketing professionals at New Boston Creative Group in Manhattan, Kansas. So on our podcast, we have two remote workers, myself and Addie. And so Addie, first question is for you. I know, woohoo, represent. What is it like to be remote? What do you feel like we miss out on?
Oh, that's a good question. So what is it like to be remote? I love working remotely. I feel like I'm a lot more productive actually working from home than I was in an office because I'm a yapper. So it's nice to just be able to sit at my desk and not have the temptation to go talk someone's ear off. I think that I do pretty well with that. But what do we miss out on is, the in-person yapping. Like, that also matters for, team bonding and relationships and getting to know your coworkers. Like, feeling as if you know them as people, I think, is really important to your working relationship. So you do miss out on the in-person, what is it called? A water cooler?
Yes.
It's been so long that I've
water
seen
cooler
one
talk.
person. Water cooler talk. Exactly. I don't even know what that is anymore. So you miss out on things like that, or the more, fast, like, hey, can I bug you for a second? I have a quick question, versus having to schedule that Zoom meeting. So there are definitely pros and cons.
And Sean, this next one is for you because you are in the office. What is it like to be there and needing to integrate with remote employees?
It's definitely gotten easier as you sort of said, all that sort of happened, and all of a sudden the technology and the ways of working remotely kind of caught up real fast. We were already using different sort of video chatting features and meeting features and using Google Docs and dabbling in remote access to shared files. And all that has just improved a lot to make it a lot simpler for that integration to happen. And as far as like a day-to-day talking to someone who's in the office versus someone who's remote, doesn't, I don't think there isn't a big difference between the two. I don't find there being more difficulties in coordinating with someone who's remote versus coordinating with someone in the office, honestly.
You all have each mentioned a couple of things, but what works well when integrating remote employees?
I think one thing is we use the Google Workspace, so Hangouts. It used to be called Hangouts. I think it's just Google Workspace now, which is integrated into our email platform. And that's really nice and easy. It's a quick, basically Slack that you can quickly, I didn't want to say quickly again, but fastly is not a word. So you can, at the speed of light, message one of your coworkers. Yeah. And that's really nice. So that makes it better than having to send a full email. So for the fast, quick little things, you can bug somebody and not make it a full on email. So I think that software is helpful.
Yeah. Being able to ping someone quickly means that you don't sort of have that delay of, like, sort of Addie talked about, having someone in the office that you can just go and bug. If I can just bug you virtually, that also works. If you're responsive in a short amount of time, then I'm not really noticing that you're not in the office next to me, as long as you're responding in a fairly quick manner. And then, you don't have to send an email and coordinate all this. We can just quickly chat. That's a big one. And then along with it, having easy ability to jump on a video to do a quick little meeting, because those are always going to be more efficient if you can actually see and talk to someone versus, again, trying to type everything out in a chat or in an email.
You all are so professional. I was thinking of something a little more cash, because we've mentioned before that we like one another. We like working together. We like our colleagues. And periodically we'll do a group, an all staff, all team game time. And we play Jackbox games. And it's super fun just to like have that opportunity to unplug, laugh, and we can all be involved remotely, even if some of us are not in the same room together. And those are always fun as a, non-work related way to stay connected with coworkers.
Yeah, I think that's been a really great sort of benefit that all the new technology has lent us, as like, we can all connect on video and sort of feel like we're together and do something similar that you would do if we were all actually physically in the same room.
And then I would add on that note that we've started doing Monday morning meetings. So it's a non-work related meeting where we can all catch up, chat about our weekends, what we're reading, what we're watching. And I believe we started that during COVID. So that was a good way for people both previously in the office and then out, as well as the permanently remote workers, to kind of get to know each other a little bit better, stay in touch, keep track of how everybody was doing. And then we continued that after everyone returned to the office. And I found that very helpful, just to feel more connected on a personal level to everybody.
Agreed. And during COVID, I think we were doing it every day, every weekday. And then as things let up and the world opened up again, we didn't feel as much of a need to touch base, so we kind of scaled it back to the weekly now. So now how about the flip side? What doesn't work so well when you're trying to engage in office and remote workers?
When you want to go drinking later, it's really difficult to have the remotes.
Happy hours.
Right. It's just, you feel bad. You feel bad because they're not there. And buying a drink for an iPad with a screen on it is just not the same.
True. This is related, but to that point, missing out on happy hours or staff potlucks that happen in the office anytime there's anything food oriented, I'm always a little jealous. So that's something sad to miss out on.
Although we quote unquote solved for that by creating a separate distribution group, email group for people in the office.
Although I don't like that. I would rather know. I have too much FOMO. Like, I would love to know what's going on, even if I'm not invited.
We've got bakers and gardeners who will bring in their goods. And it's like, oh, great. Well, everyone else is getting fresh tomatoes. Not
but that
me.
goes back to the personal level. Like, I want to know if Sarah's bringing in tomatoes. How fun, Sarah. Tell me about your tomatoes. I like that kind of stuff.
Well, the worst is if we don't see the email, but we see the calendar invite, because we have access to an all team calendar. So it's not like we're spying. It's right there. Addie and I can see, and we're like, well, geez, Louise.
Yeah, I guess that's where the case where technology works against you. Having everyone have access to this calendar is actually a problem.
I could see Sean's wheels spinning.
Right. I was thinking, like, I guess I could add Addie to the office email, so she's the only remote that actually gets them.
Yeah, I feel like Sean's wheels are spinning to create a private calendar already.
I don't want to create it. That's what it is. How do I avoid creating another calendar?
All right. So last question. Good unpacking of these things. Why do you think it matters to engage remote employees? And do you all have an opinion about what companies should do?
I think my overall thought is it's good to embrace it. I don't think there's a need to fear it. I think you can, as we talked about, it's easy enough to integrate people into the different working groups and using the technology. I think that's fine. I don't think there's a need to be like everyone has to be in the office for work to get done. I don't think that's the case. And to that point, some people are going to work better. Addie mentioned she thinks she's more productive working remotely. And I think there's lots of people who feel the same way. In addition, you're going to open yourself up to more hiring opportunities. So as you're looking for a new position, it doesn't mean they have to live in your town to work for you. And maybe the best candidate doesn't. And I think that's fine.
It's also a huge incentive for people. I think plenty of people enjoy the option to work from home, more flexibility, those kinds of things, whether for productivity or otherwise. So giving people that option is huge for a company that just opens up the people who you're able to hire who might prioritize that. Maybe they don't want to go into the office 5 days a week. So by giving them that flexibility, you might be able to hire someone who you wouldn't have otherwise been able to had you forced them to be in the office.
Excellent takes, you guys.
I just wanted to add that Julie was right. And, when COVID came around and we asked her, how it was to work remote, because we knew if she could do it, anybody could do it.
And here I am.
Here we are. This is kind of back to what's important or why it works. But I do think there are a couple stipulations. Like, I feel as if Julie and I are both very strong communicators. And without that, I don't know that working remotely would be possible. You definitely have to have that skill set to work remotely because you need to be in fairly constant communication with all of your team members who can't just knock on your door and ask you a quick question. So communication really is key there.
Agreed.
Yeah, we're reliable too. And, we'll focus
trustworthy, beautiful, competent, beautiful, creative, all of those things.
Yeah, I had those all written down if we had to get into them, but yeah, you covered them.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Almost Productive. Before we go, we'd like to give a shout out to our producers Nick and Molly who work behind the scenes to make this podcast possible. If you'd like to learn more about what we do at New Boston Creative Group, you can reach out to us at newbostoncreative.com. You can also follow us on social media at New Boston Creative on Instagram and New Boston Creative Group on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you liked this episode, please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with your friends. And if you didn't like the show, feel free to recommend us to your enemies. Tune in next time for some more office shenanigans, thoughts on trending topics, and marketing-adjacent insights. Until next time, we hope you have a productive day. Well, that's it for today's episode. Blah, blah.